The snow in Riverdale was coming down hard, flakes the size of goose feathers smacking against my lashes. I tugged my red cashmere scarf tighter and was about to step into a drift, when someone grabbed the back of that scarf, yanking me backward like a kitten scooped by the scruff. Serena. The voice, cedar smoke and winter, brushed my nape. I shivered, turned, and met Adrian's fathomless eyes. His black wool coat collar stood high, shoulders dusted with powder. One gloved hand closed around the carved ebony umbrella that announced his rank. Adrian? My voice came out paper-thin. Wasn't the Secretary of Organizational Affairs supposed to be in Geneva? Last week, the news showed him shaking hands with foreign delegates. His brows drew together, gaze sweeping my thin knit dress. Dressed like this for the parking lot? Before I could answer, he'd stripped off his coat and wrapped me in it. His heat seeped through the fabric, carrying that faint cedar scent. My car is just... Get in. He cut me off, yanking open the rear door of the official state sedan. The cabin's warmth hit me like a sauna. I caught the tiny melt specks on his cuff. How long had he stood in the snow? The privacy panel slid up and he asked, out of nowhere, boyfriend? No. I blurted it. In my peripheral vision, the hard line of his jaw relaxed. Adrian, male, 32, non-smoker, non-drinker, no exes, no almosts, no side flings, no history of violence, Michelin-level cook, clean medical file, model family. I stared. Was this a resume? Marry me. He turned, the dome light carved shadows under his brow. Tomorrow, I come to your gate to ask formally. 2 weeks later, we sign the license. What? I jerked upright. The ends of my hair flicked his knuckles. His fingers twitched, but didn't withdraw. Unwilling? The word sank, and something unreadable stormed behind his eyes. Before I could speak, he leaned in. Warm breath fanned my cheek. A large palm cupped the back of my head, and soft lips landed on mine. Seals on. When he pulled back, his thumb brushed the corner of my mouth. Moonwhite heirloom bangle. Wear it. I gawked at the milky luminescence circling my wrist. The jade felt cool against my pulse. He'd slid it on with a silk pad, the way you'd handle museum glass. Adrian. I lifted the bracelet. Jet lag messing with your head? People do crazy things when they're exhausted. He said nothing. After delivering me to the Vance gate, he stole another. Goodbye. Kiss. I stood beneath the wrought iron filigree, umbrella hand trembling. He straightened my scarf, fingertips lingering on my earlobe. 2 beats too long. 9 tomorrow. I come to propose. Crimen taillights sliced the snowy dark as the black sedan slid away. Miss Nora hurried over with an umbrella. Your hands are ice. Come inside. I trailed her through the covered walk. The instant we hit the foyer, mother seized my wrist. Emerald drops swinging like chandeliers. Well, is the boy to your liking? Mom. I yanked free. Since when do you set me up on blind dates? 25 years old and never once in love. She smacked the sofa arm. Song brags about her son-in-law daily. Says the Vance girl is nothing but a pretty shell. Her tirade cut off when she spotted the moonwhite bangle. That's the Caldwell heirloom? I stared. The spot where Adrian's fingers had touched still seemed to burn. I need to tell you. I rubbed my temples. The parlor phone rang. Mother glided over. Voice suddenly warm maple syrup. Caldwell. Dear. Yes. The proposal. 9 o'clock suits us perfectly. She hung up. Eyes stadium bright. Snow. Caldwell says Adrian's coming to propose tomorrow. Oh my god. Her scream rattled the chandeliers. Adrian wants to marry you. Hands over mouth. She squealed. When did you reel him in? I didn't. Splendid. She was already halfway up the stairs. I'll have Nora prep the winter garden. Mid-flight she reversed. Sleep early. Tomorrow you greet the Caldwells in peak condition. Mom. I caught her sleeve. I've always seen him as a big brother. Big brother can become betting brother. She patted my hand. When I married your father, I called him Big Bro, too. Voice low, plus the Caldwell's clout. Sweet pea, this is a jackpot. But he has a white moonlight. I blurted. Everyone in the compound says, white moonlight? She laughed. That's you, dummy. She tapped my forehead. Age 15 you shattered their heirloom jade. He hunted down a master artisan overnight. College professor picked on you? He had the man reassigned. I froze. Past kindnesses, reframed as courtship, flooded back. Mom, my voice cracked. Maybe, we say no. His rank is sky high. It scares me. Say no. Volume shot up again. Do you know how many political matches Adrian refused for you? Last year Minister Wang's daughter almost, she caught herself. Unwilling to soil my ears, she clasped my hands. Darling, I watched that boy grow. Light years better than any trust fund brat. True. He's too perfect. I gazed into the swirling snow, remembering how Adrian used to knot my scarf fingers lingering 3 seconds longer than necessary. I'd thought it imagination. Now, snow. Mother waved. Lost in space? I looked down. The jade glowed softly under the chandelier. Some waits begin with the season's first snowfall. Some feelings take root with a single glance. Caldwell residence. Caldwell's hand on the receiver trembled as she studied her son's chiseled profile. Suddenly finding the brat impeccable, she cleared her throat, pretending severity. Spill. When did you develop unsibling-like feelings for the Vance girl? 15, that was her birthday you sent me to. Adrian removed his gold-rimmed glasses, tenderness pooling in his eyes. She hugged the music box, eyes like starburst. Animal. Caldwell slammed the desk. Emerald studs slashed arcs. She was 15. You were 22. Downstairs. Butler Lee spilled green tea on the Persian rug and quietly retreated. Mother. Calm. Adrian drew a velvet box from his inner pocket. Inside lay a cold sparkling pink diamond solitaire. I waited a decade. This isn't impulse. He traced the inner engraving. Adrian loves Serena. Voice barely a thread. Her mother's lining up suitors. So you panic? Caldwell snorted, then caught sight of the red string peeking from his cuff. Serena's DIY bracelet from 16. Colors still vivid. Her tone softened. Betrothal gifts ready? In the storehouse. He adjusted his cufflinks. 10 trucks. Arrive at the Vance gate at dawn. 10. Caldwell's eyes bulged. You moving munitions? Mother. Speed up if you can. I'm impatient. Fine. Mission accepted. Adrian shrugged on his overcoat and took the stairs 2 at a time. Caldworth remained on the sofa. Smile welded to her face. She called Butler Lee. Inventory my eldest storeroom. Summon the trucks. Load tonight. We depart at sunrise. Yes, madam. Remembering her wandering husband, she dialed with a threat. Home by 8:30 tomorrow or consequences. Hang up. Next call. Claire. Her daughter's startled laugh rang out. Wow. Big bro. Finally pounced. I thought he'd wait till Serena hit 27. Caldwell huffed. So everyone knew and ganged up on me? Relax. Dad's clueless too. Derek found out first. I was second. Gotta run. Count me in for the half-month wedding. He hung up the second the sentence was finished. Caldwell's temper flared hotter with every replay of the call. She dialed Derek straight back to demand an explanation. The line stayed dead. Powered off. What kind of man turns his phone off at this hour? Remembering her younger son's mention of getting some air at the seaside villa, she let it go and set the handset down. The housekeeper slipped in, his face an unreadable knot. Madam, the storehouse. You'd better come. She swept through the 9-turn cloister to the 50-acre warehouse. The moment the door swung open, she nearly missed the step. Beyond towers of jewel cases, crouched a matte black helicopter. The name of Serena, in icy chrome glowing under the floodlights. A civilian model? Caldwell's voice cracked. Top spec. Butler Mike answered, handing her the file. Pilot vetted. Flight plan cleared. There's a yacht, too. She flipped to the purchase agreement, her nails stopping at the figure 120 million. Has the boy lost his mind? This way, madam. He lifted a bolt of black velvet. 3 scale model islands glimmered on lighted pedestals, each deed already sealed. Caldwell leaned in and almost fainted. One of them was a private Maldivian atoll. Is he emptying the family vault? She steadied herself against the display, then caught the corner stack of rosewood trunks. Lifting a lid, she gasped with layer upon layer of title deeds to Riverdale's priciest commercial blocks. Her cell rang. Adrian. Amusement in every note. Mother. Forgot to mention, the West Side Manor just transferred to Serena. That estate covered 10,000 acres. You? Caldwell started, then burst into laughter. Crafty devil. Clacking the abacus behind my back, she pivoted to the butler. Bring out my pearl parure. Tomorrow the girl must see how the Caldwells value her. He bowed, thinking, with a bride price like this, the whole capital will be speechless. The Vance girl probably won't sleep a wink tonight. At dawn, Caldwell unearthed her bottom chest hoard, a claret silk cheapao hand-embroidered in Suzhou stitch. Morning light through the carved window set the gold thread rippling like fish scales. A lucky flag that opens in victory, she murmured, adjusting her coil of hair while emerald drops danced against a strand of pearls. Halfway down the stairs she spotted the figure on the sofa and sniffed. At least you're punctual. Caldwell folded the Riverdale, eyeing his wife's regal splendor. Darling, you outshine the bride herself. Shameless old flirt. She slanted him a look, then caught Adrian descending in razor-sharp charcoal. Today his cufflinks mirrored the snowflake carving on Serena's white jade bracelet, and his tie bar flashed cold silver. Mother, father, let's go. He accepted the vintage pocket watch from the butler. The lid flung open, scattering shards of light. The motorcade glided down the plane tree tunnel while I lingered on the second-floor terrace. I watched watched the lead Rolls-Royce Phantom, fingers idly circling the white jade bracelet he had given me at 18 with the careless words, "Hold on to this for me." Only now did the weight of that promise settle. Last night's moonwhite heirloom bangle I had wrapped in suede and hidden away. "Miss Caldwell's here." Before the maid finished, engines rumbled through the gates. 10 cargo lorries rolled in. The red silk on the third fluttered just enough to bear the gilt tail fin that read of Serena. At the rear, 3 island models shimmered like polished pearls under the sun. My mother's sandalwood prayer beads rattled. She glanced up and found me frozen on the balcony. A soft cough. "Serena, go welcome our guests." Caldwell stepped over the threshold in stilettos just as I reached the foyer. She studied me in dawn light, blush pink cheapo, skin like snow, pearl tassels swaying from my hair. "2 years, and you've bloomed breathtakingly." Caldwell is radiant as ever, smiling. She passed the gift list to our butler. "We're here to ask for your daughter's hand. Only the best will match her grace." Inside, the 2 patriarchs sipped green tea. "Serena, show Adrian the garden." My father's quiet order. "Right this way, Adrian." We had barely left the drawing room when he cornered me beside a carved pillar. Cedar and morning dew rolled off his shoulders as he caged me between marble and warmth. "Adrian." Before I could breathe, he dropped to one knee. The velvet box snapped open. A pink diamond solitaire fractured sunlight into rainbows. "10 years ago you said you wanted a pink diamond ring? I never forgot." He lifted my hand, thumb grazing the empty circle of my 4th finger. 50 carats. 1 rough stone from South Africa. 1 ring on earth. I trembled, catching the scarlet thread peeking from his breast pocket. The cord bracelet I braided at 16, still threaded with a lock of my hair. When I stayed mute, his grip tightened around my fingers. "Serena, ask me anything, now." I curled my free hand, meeting his dark gaze. "Adrian, if you marry me, what happens to your white moon girl? The whole compound whispers you stayed single waiting for some overseas phantom." "White moon?" He laughed softly, nose brushing my ear. "The night you turned 15, hugging my music box and saying Adrian's the best. You became the only moon in my sky." "Wait, so there's no other woman?" "Hold on." I stared, thoughts racing, and realized mother had been right. "I'm the white moon." "Impossible." I shook my head to scatter the notion. His palms cradled my face, bringing it close. "Serena, you are my white moon. Didn't I fasten our family's heirloom bangle on you myself?" He glanced at the white jade circlet on my wrist. "Where's last night's moon white one? Why aren't you wearing it?" I pushed him away, cheeks burning. "Why me? The compound is full of beauties. A man in his position must have met countless exceptional women." He countered gently as Serena. "Why not you? I'm so ordinary." With effortless strength he pivoted me toward the corridor mirror, arms circling my waist from behind. "Look, wherein that reflection is ordinary. These brows, this face, this shape. He's coveted every inch for years." He pressed the betrothal folder into my hand, certificates for the helicopter, the yacht, the islands, edges biting my palm. "This is only the proposal." His kiss brushed my knuckles. "Tomorrow, every asset I own transfers to you." "That's excessive." He swept me into his arms. I squealed and clutched his neck, seeing storm clouds gather in his eyes. "Time to negotiate our lifetime. Your room." "My room is..." The sentence shattered as he climbed the stairs. At the far end of the corridor hung wind chimes. The bedroom door stood ajar. The crooked family portrait I drew at 8 propped on the nightstand. The boy in uniform sketched beside me was teenage Adrian. "How did you?" He silenced every question with a kiss. Outside, spring sunlight spilled like warm honey. That Adrian had loved me in secret for 10 years left me dazed for days. On the eve of the wedding, the marriage contract arrived, its gold dust still wet. I traced the seal script, 100 years of harmony, fingers gliding over mandarin ducks embroidered on the silk coverlet. The phoenix robe lay on sandalwood trays. Peonies in Suzhou stitch shimmered, and beneath 12 layers of gauze a hidden double happiness glinted in gold thread. "Serena, daydreaming?" Mother entered with bird nest porridge. Catching me lost in the gown, she chuckled. "Before I married your father, I stared at my trousseau all night too." My ears burned. I accepted the bowl. "Mom, do you think Adrian might have some hidden illness?" "Illness?" She slapped her knee, startling petals off the crabapple outside. "The man heads the organization department. Those physicals are stricter than imperial bride selection." Lowering her voice, I asked old Chen yesterday. "His medical file could belong to a 20-year-old. Are you sure?" My spoon clattered, spattering porridge across my moon-white cheapo. She laughed, crow's feet sparkling with mischief. "When your dad had a stalker, I unearthed her 7 exes in a day." "But Adrian..." She let the pause speak. 32 years, and not even a female mosquito has landed. Really, no secret defect. I fretted all the same. The wedding that followed was a spectacle of dynastic splendor. two political clans stitching their networks together. They had planned a quiet affair, but VIPs kept arriving with tributes. Turning them away was impossible. That night, when I saw the mountain of gifts, I froze. Adrian, I thought we only invited close friends and family. Everyone who shows up is a guest. Adrian tugged at his tie. The little boy slur in his voice sounded unfairly sexy. Only then did it hit me. Starting today, Adrian, this man, was my husband. The role switch left me dizzy. Adrian, why don't you shower first? He said nothing, just grabbed his pajamas and disappeared into the bathroom. 10 minutes later, he stepped out, fresh and clean. I took half an hour to shower and wash my hair. When I emerged with my hair still damp, he was already in bed waiting. I climbed in and lay down like I owned the place. Long day. Let's sleep. He dimmed the lights and stretched out on top of me. Adrian, Serena, tonight's our wedding night. I nodded. I know. He peeled the quilt off me, locked his big hand around my waist, and lifted me onto his lap in one smooth pull. That pose let me feel exactly how ready he was. Adrian, weren't you non-binary? You just said. His breathing turned heavy, darkness swirling in his eyes. What am I? Non-binary. Before the word was out, he sealed my lips, tongue flicking my teeth. Then let me show you what a real man feels like. He used his teeth to drag my pajamas strapped down. I caught the faint cedar on his neck mixed with whiskey. His palm slid along the fitted seam of my cheepow, then stopped low on my belly. Here, his Adam's apple bobbed. Ready to welcome me? Adrian. I shoved his chest, crimson-faced. It wouldn't budge. Suddenly, he yanked his robe open, baring cut abs. Look, Serena, this is a man's waist. I slammed my eyes shut. He forced them open again. Look. His voice was sandpaper. 10 years. Serena, I'm finally yours. Didn't you have issues? Serena, don't come crying to me later. I'm about to test the theory. He bunched my nightgown to my hips. 12 layers of Sioux embroidery bloomed across the sheets like the gold peony on our marriage certificate. Much later, I finally understood what test the theory meant. Too late. The man had zero issues. His stamina was terrifying. I sobbed and begged all night. He never once relented. Ugh. Men are scary. He'd claimed it was his first time and he needed practice. Every last time turned into another round, then another. I will never believe a man's sweet lies again. The Dragon and Phoenix candles burned all night. The walk-in closet still smells of what we did. The last test had been up against the mirrored wall, fresh from the shower. I stood on tiptoe to reach the white jade bracelet on the top shelf and walked straight into a wall of warm chest. Looking for this? Adrian's morning rough voice brushed the nape of my neck. My cheepow hem skimmed his shin as I turned. His pajamas gaped open, revealing the crescent bite mark I'd left on his collarbone. Adrian, I stared at the tiny moon. Why is half this closet women's clothes? He pinned me against the carved sandalwood armoire. Cold wood and his cedar scent swallowed me. Long fingers traced the frog clasp at my throat. Platinum cufflinks flashed like frost in the dawnlight. I had them made for you. For me? I gaped as he pressed a hidden latch. A dozen bespoke kipeos hung in a perfect row, every collar embroidered with a single snowflake. But the sizes, starting when you were 15, he murmured, biting my earlobe. Every year I sent the tailor to record you, predicting height and weight from bone age. His hot palm slid along the tapered waist. Now they fit. Laughter drifted up the stairs. Caldwell, Adrian, Serena. Time for tea. I tried to wriggle free. He trapped my wrists against the door. He flicked open the second clasp, bearing the strawberry pink birthmark under my collarbone. Hurt when I bit here last night? Adrian. I glared, cheeks on fire. He finished the last clasp. Eyes storm dark. Adam's apple jerking. He bent to my ear. You owe me. We'll collect. Slowly. I followed him downstairs, deliberate half a step behind. Cheepow hem swaying to flash the pearl anklet he'd clasped on me at dawn. Caldwell was discussing dowry gifts with Caldwell when she winked at me. So, Serena, how did Adrian perform? Mom. Adrian covered his face. The tips of his ears glowed. I stared at those ears and remembered him flushed the same way while he moved above me. Serena, I waited 10 years for you. During the tea ceremony, Caldwell drew a pair of emerald bangles from her sleeve, imperial green, watery brilliance in the sun. Caldwell heirlooms for the eldest wife, she said, sliding them over my wrists. From Adrian's grandmother to me, now to you. I met Adrian's gaze. His thumb stroked the back of my hand. Spring wind rattled the window, fluttering the snowflake pin on his lapel. Did the man plan to brand everything with my name? A car roared outside. Derek hurried in hugging a crate of files. Big brother, your European antiques arrived. I stared at the 18th century enamel mantel clock, its pendulum engraved with a Serena, a glinting in the sun. Adrian curved around me from behind, breath warm on my neck. Sweet 16 present. 10 years late, but that year you gave me a Dolce Gabbana heart-shaped clock, he whispered against my temple. Inside, my first love letter. I never noticed. I thought it was just a brotherly gift. Who gives a sister a heart clock? Heart-shaped, short for, my heart is set on you. Only now do I realize how long he's been confessing in code. After the brief family introductions, I clutched presents, white jade cabochons, pearl necklaces, unlimited black cards, too busy to sip the green tea Nora poured. Top-grade mutton fat jade from Derek. Qing Dynasty pearls from Claire. Black card from Caldwell. Have Nora lock them in the vault. Adrian said, knuckles grazing my wrist as he took the sandalwood boxes. He'd swapped his suit for a moon-white shirt. Collar opened 2 buttons. Twice as relaxed. At the table Caldwell stirred bird nest porridge with a silver spoon. Gaze syrupy on me. Serena, if Adrian ever bullies you, tell me. Don't worry, Mom. I tasted the broth. Smiling. He treats me like glass. Tomorrow there's a jewelry auction at the Regency, she said, setting down her bowl so the emerald bangle rang. Diamonds or jade? Come pick whatever you like. Before I answered, Adrian's hand closed over mine, calloused palm branding my skin. Mom, are you kidnapping my bride? Shopping on day 1, really? Claire's steak knife shrieked across porcelain. She raised a brow at our joined hands, mouth curving. Big brother's possessive, yet someone spent half the night in the study grinning at the marriage license. The whole table cracked up. Even Derek adjusted his glasses to hide red ears. So he hadn't slept at all. His hand still covered mine, heat crawling up my arm. I peeked up, met molten gold eyes, and my own ears combusted. He traced my thumb. Entertained, I shot him a warning glare. Claire, Caldwell scolded. So chatty because you brief the press for a living? She dabbed her lips. I call it truth-telling. Little sister, I hear a new guy transferred to your department. Big brother, congratulations on the wedding. Claire clammed up. His resume looks solid. Bring him to dinner sometime? Sure. Big brother. Petty big brother. Retaliation already. I watched the siblings spar, torn between laughter and longing. Let go now. His palm was furnace hot, just like last night when he undid my nightgown, fingers scorching every place they touched. Back then he had said, Serena, from now on the Caldwell family is your home. Little Serena, Caldwell's voice pulled me back to the present. She lifted a pink diamond bracelet from the sandalwood box and slid it gently over my wrist. This was left to me by Adrian's grandmother. Now it's yours. Another heirloom. How many heirlooms does the Caldwell family even have? I instinctively tried to refuse, but Adrian pressed my hand still. His thumb rested against my pulse. Voice low enough for only us. Keep it on. When mother gives you something, you take it. Claire suddenly leaned in. Big sister, that bracelet is perfect with your cheapow today. There's a charity dinner next week. Come with me? She's not going. Adrian shifted me behind him. The undone top button of his shirt parted with the motion. Those stilettos of hers turned her feet red after 2 steps. My ears burned as last night flashed through my mind, him half kneeling beside the bed, massaging my feet. Moonlight had drifted through the screen and settled on his shoulders like a thin layer of frost. Oh, Claire arched a brow. Big brother remembers every little detail. Worried I'll run off with your wife? Worried you'll corrupt her? Adrian lifted my hand and brushed a kiss across my ring finger. His lashes trembled, gaze locked on me. My bride gets spoiled by me, and only me. Outside, rain had started to fall without my noticing. Drops drummed the glass just like his damp breath against my ear when he'd kissed me last night. Life in the Caldwell mansion wasn't as unbearable as I'd feared, except for the first day, when the whole family gathered. Everyone scattered to their own routines the next morning, except for Adrian. The man was insane. If he could, he'd graft himself to me, aside from meals and bathroom breaks. Like right now, cornering me by the door and looking for trouble. Serena, we haven't tried it here yet. Want to? I widened my eyes. Are you crazy? This is the doorway. Doors closed, though. With that he pinned me against the solid wood. Adept fingers untying my nightgown. Serena, I want to unlock a new position. Stay quiet later, okay? No way. Adrian, can't we pick another spot? Good girl. That one can't be done on the bed. The man was unyielding. Adrian, you jerk. This is the door. Anyone could walk by. And if the mere thought of being overheard made my skin crawl. Sweetheart, just this once? He begged in a husky whisper, lips and hands setting me alight everywhere at once. I bit my lip and whimpered. My treacherous body melted. Serena, Serena, look at me. I shut my eyes, refusing. Serena, Adrian, I love every inch of you. Shut up. I'd assumed even he couldn't have energy for this every single day. Right. Frequent lovemaking the first newlywed days was understandable, after all. He'd pined for me 10 years, but it had been a full month. Apart from my period, the man never cooled off. Furious, I decided to run away and let him cool his jets. I packed a small suitcase, waited until he was at work, and bought the earliest ticket to Eastbrook. I'd barely cleared security, boarding pass still in hand, when I was stopped. Staring at the officers, my brain blue screened. I hadn't broken any laws. Why were they detaining me? Serena? I nodded. Yes, that's me. Please come with us. Totally bewildered, I asked, on what grounds? One of them produced a tracking sheet, my photo stapled to it. If memory served, this form was for locating missing persons. The man had actually activated the Sky Eye surveillance grid to track me. Was that even legal? I'd only run away for a bit. Did he have to unleash the behemoth system? I opened my mouth to argue, but the policeman politely escorted me into the cruiser. Who could understand? 25 years old, and my first ride in a squad car was because I'd run away from home. In this day and age, a little elopement warrants an escort. Unbelievable. By the time I stood before the Caldwell's wrought iron gate, the back of my blouse was soaked with cold sweat. Adrian. I gazed at his silhouette under the crystal chandelier in the foyer. Voice weaker than the cicadas outside. He was unfastening his cuff links. The metallic click rang loud in the hush. Thinking of leaving me? He asked it casually, twirling a cuff link between his fingers. I caught the whiff of danger, sprang to his side like a startled cat. Of course not. I clutched his lapel, crescent dents from my nails forming in the fabric. I went to see Hannah. She's opened a new cafe. Any male friends? He spun around. I stumbled into his chest. Sandalwood and cedar washed over me as he banded an arm around my waist. Grip strong enough to fracture porcelain. I inched toward the sofa in panic. He followed. None at all. When my back met the sofa arm, he knelt slowly, level with me. Only who? Only. I flung my arms around his neck. My hair swept his Adam's apple. Only you. Even I froze. Those cloying tones belonged to Caldwell's pampered ragdoll cat. He scooped me up. I squealed and clung to him. Heat from his thigh muscles seeped through his suit and branded my skin. Sweet talk. Someone's had honey? Every word is true. I switched tactics. 10 years ago. When did you start? He settled me on his lap, cupping my chin. The chandelier shattered into starlight in his eyes. Your 15th birthday party. White dress. Princess braids. Smiles like masks for everyone else. His thumb brushed my lip. Only for me your eyes curved into crescents. I opened my mouth, remembering how I'd leaned on him like a brother that day. He dropped his head, nose brushing my ear. Later I kept dreaming of you stretching for an album. Sneaking cake with cream on your lips. Of what? My breath scorched. His Adam's apple bobbed. Voice almost a sigh. Of you in my shirt. Dawnlight letting me do whatever I pleased. Those ever bolder dreams forced him to admit how deeply she affected him. I suddenly recalled last night when he tossed his shirt onto my pillow and told me to put it on. So, my voice shook. You've liked me since I was 15? Yes, since you were 15. He laughed softly, glaciers melting into spring water in his eyes, waiting for my little girl to grow up and become my bride. I punched him. That's why I never had a single male friend. You interfered? Crafty old fox. He confessed without shame. No one touches what I've set my sights on. In the end, he proved his devotion with action. Every untouched position, every unvisited corner, he claimed them all. I was so mad I didn't speak to him for days. That morning, mist still clung to the air. I had just stepped outside when I froze. On the bluestone step sat a gilded box, fastened with a silk ribbon and a single river pearl clasp. Madam, shall we open it? The familiar cedar scent rolled in behind me. I didn't need to turn. My fingers trembled as I lifted the lid. Morning light streamed through the glazed top, scattering rainbow shards across the diamond mine deed inside. He had bought the entire mining district. Adrian. When I spun, I collided with his pine-scented chest. Half a red ribbon, the hair tie I'd snapped last night, peeked from his suit pocket. Don't be angry anymore, okay? He stroked the reddened corners of my eyes. Look at the last page. I flipped to the end and froze. A writer stated, all mining revenues shall belong to Serena personally, dated 3 days before we filed our marriage certificate. Meaning he'd prepared it before he even proposed. These mines. My voice quavered. National law forbids private ownership. That's why it took 7 years. He pressed me against the vermilion pillar. His cufflink dug into the soft flesh above my hip. From the day you turned 18 and said you loved pink diamonds. I started setting the board. His fingertip traced the pearl at my cheapo collar. Every birthday mineral sample paved the way for today. I stared at the chip diamonds glittering in his tie clip, scraps he'd cut and polished himself on my 23rd birthday. All these years he'd crushed his heart into fragments and hidden them inside every gift. My heart softened, eyes burned. burned. I hated admitting how fiercely I'd fallen. A sovereign's love isn't condescending charity. It's grinding his own heart to dust and paving a path straight to him. Still mad? He tipped his head. Morning light gilding his profile. I bent and kissed him. Caldwell, looking forward to the rest of our lives.